Okay, let us have a look at how to study in order to do well in exams. And I hope my voice and my screen is clear to all.
Yes, sir.
Is my voice and screen clear? Can you see my screen as well as hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, now mute all your mics. Learning is an art, and if you have mastered the art of learning, all doors will open. So said Alvin Toffler, author of Future Shock. Now let us have a look at how to study and do well in exams. A little bit about my formerly, I was head of ENT, Deputy Superintendent, Associate Dean, Medical Education, and all that. Now, of course, I'm completely stepped down. And I'm just a professor. Now, what is my forerunner to entitle me to conduct this program? Let's have a look at my PUC marks. Very hard work, and I had 100 out of 100, first and second year maths 100, and I had an aggregate of 92 that gave me a merit government seat in medicine in Manipal. Now I'm just a professor of head and neck surgery. A little bit of some of the other things I've done in computer applications, electronics, wireless telecommunication. Now, once you're on the academic path, you have to take that decision to be the best, which is why William Shakespeare said, to be or not to be is a question. Quite a number of us, we do not decide to be the class first or within the top 5. We just decide to study. We need to take that decision to be the very best. And we have to take that decision to be the best. Why? Because consciousness is only 10%, and your message to the subconscious is of paramount importance, and subconsciousness is 90%. And Alvin Toffler said, knowledge is power. So in order to do well, you must be prepared to put in the requisite effort. Now, how much should you work and how long should you work? We will see that shortly. But before that, you need to have that self-confidence. All of us have equal intelligence, and you must decide and be confident that you will do well. If you hesitate and are self-introspective, that can I do well, difficulties will come on your way. You need to affirm that you are going to do well, and therefore be self-confident. Now, what are the major problems students I have seen? They say, in spite of all the effort, I still can't remember. Let us study the various factors that influence your memory remembering potential. We need to look at this program from two aspects. We need to look at it's like a computer. We need to look at the computer and we need to look at the software. The computer is a hardware, and in us, the hardware is the brain. What factors govern efficient functioning of the brain? For remembering recall studies, the main thing, please realize, it is iron. It is the backbone of memory. And it must, earlier I used to say 13 gram per deciliter your hemoglobin should be. Today we say it must at least be 15. What are the factors that contribute to a 15 gram per percentage deciliter? The factors are, you must have adequate iron, vitamin C, folate, B12, copper, vitamin E. But still, the most important is iron. What prevents most of us from having adequate iron? Tea. Whenever mothers come and say, my child is not remembering, I ask only one question, is it tea or coffee? Invariably, the answer is tea. 100% tea will block iron absorption and that will cause memory loss. Do not touch tea. Do we have documentary evidence? Yes. This is the accredited medical library online source. Look at this mechanism of inhibition of iron absorption by T. Do not under any circumstance touch a drop of
Sir,
tea.
your voice is breaking.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
Yeah. 1 second. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Under any circumstance, do not touch tea. That is the documentary evidence that tea is blocking iron absorption. There are many articles like this. This is just one of them. What does tea also cause? Reduced iron, and reduced iron, low hemoglobin, that causes throat cancer too. Be very careful. Make sure at least once a year, check your hemoglobin and make sure it is normal. There are a lot of evidence that iron deficiency causes throat cancer. Now, what is the other thing? If you want to put on muscles, you need to have protein. If you want to build strong bones, then you need to take calcium. Whereas for brain is made of fat. And the major source of that fat to efficiently function is ghee. Make sure you take half a teaspoon of ghee every day. Why? Ghee promotes learning, memory, and recall. So every day, take a little bit of ghee. Apart from that, people who consume fish they are brainy. Look at the Bengalis or even from Kerala, fish makes them really brainy and razor sharp. When people come for memory treatment, I always give fish oil in a capsule. If they say we are vegetarians, then I say at least take ghee, because these are what fat is what the brain is made of, and you require what is required for the brain to efficiently function. So fish oil and ghee. Now here's documented evidence, cognitive and physiologic effects of omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids. And what does it do? Omega-3, that is fish oil, plays a role in nervous system activity. They improve cognitive development and reference memory related learning. And what is the conclusion? It is associated with the improvement of attention and physiologic functions, particularly involving cortical. Now, if you want to take fish oil, it is available as a capsule, omega-3 or Maxipa. So we have looked at the computer hardware. The brain requires iron. Now, we also know it is made of fat and requires ghee and fish oil. Now, having looked at the computer, let us look at the software, studying. Sit in a comfortable position so that you're not distracted by body stress and pain. Various postures we studied. Sit, make sure your spinal cord is straight and you're comfortable and can sit for a duration of time. Now, many students, day and night, they study. At the end of it, their eyes are fixed for short distance. Later on, they can only see short distance. They cannot see long distance, and eventually they will develop short sight. So therefore, few things about take care of your own eyesight. Make sure you frequently blink quite often. You lose the habit of frequent blinking. Make sure you blink. Make sure the eyes are relaxed. For every 10 minutes, just 5 seconds, just shut your eyes down. You'll find an amazing relaxing effect. And make sure before you go to sleep, look at a long distance object like a street light, very clearly focus, blink, and only then go to sleep. If you do that, you will find over the years, you do not develop refractory errors and do not need glasses. How long should you study? 1 hour or 6 hours? Now, if your technique is really efficient, systematic, proper study for 1 hour is enough to get a rank. Let us see how to study. Technique. Now, I just took a random paragraph from a geography class. Let us just study this one paragraph. What are we studying about? Several gases. Where are they found? In the atmosphere. Now, what do these gases do? They absorb infrared radiation. And by absorbing radiation, what happens? It gives rise to what is called the greenhouse effect. This is exactly how you should study. For every concept, you must ask yourself a question. Otherwise, your eyes will simply be reading, your mind will be somewhere else. What are we studying about? Gases. What do gases do? They absorb infrared radiation from the Earth's surface. When they absorb infrared radiation, what happens? It leads to what is called the greenhouse effect. And this greenhouse effect, what is it? It leads to heating of the Earth's atmosphere. Suppose this greenhouse effect is not there, because the heating is not there, the Earth's temperature would have decreased by 33 degrees. It would have been that much colder. What are the important gases which we're talking about? Methane, carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide. What are we talking about? Gases. What do they do? They absorb infrared radiation. And this causes what? Greenhouse effect, causing what? Heating of the Earth. If this heating of the Earth is not there, the Earth would have been colder by 33 degrees. What are the gases? Methane, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide. Now, of late, these gases have been increasing because of industrial revolution and burning of petrol. What are the other gases? What are ozone, water vapor, chlorofluorocarbons, which are found in ACs? What are we talking about? Gases. What do they do? Infrared radiation, causing what? Greenhouse effect. What does it cause? Heating. Without the heating, how much the Earth will cool? 33 degrees. What are the gases? Methane, carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide. Because of too many cars and petrol burning, it has the greenhouse, the gas are increasing. And as a consequence, we are getting what is now called global warming. Let us leave that. Let us go to one more class. In which year? 1878. From which country? Canada. What did he do? Who was he? Sir Sanford Fleming. From which country? Canada. Each time keep asking questions. Which year? 1878. What did he suggest? Worldwide time zones. From which country? Canada. Who? Sanford Fleming. Which year? 1878. And what did he suggest? Worldwide time zones to simplify the keeping of time. Now, how many zones he presented or suggested? 24 time zones. Each zone of how many degrees? 15 degrees longitude. Now, since the world rotates once in 24 hours on its axis, the entire globe, there are 360 degrees of longitude. 360 degrees. So each hour of the Earth's rotation, therefore, represents 15. How many zones? 24 time zones. Once every 24 hours rotates, and therefore, each hour the Earth rotates through how many degrees? 15 degrees of longitude. Now, he said there should be a worldwide time zone. From which country? Canada. Who? Sanford Fleming. Which year? 1878. Proposed that the Earth be divided into 24 time zones, each zone of 15 degrees. These are the longitudes. Between two longitudes, there is 15 degrees. And therefore, these are the 24 time zones he proposed. And he said it should be maintained in a place called Greenwich. Which country? Canada. Which year? 1878. Who? Sanford Fleming. And that is the start of where the time starts. And if you note from here to India, 5.5 hours, which is why when we calculate GMT Indian time, we add 5.5 hours to GMT and we get the Indian time. How many time zones are there? 24. Through each zone, what is the number of degrees of longitude? 15 degrees. That is the original line which he drew. That is where the time starts in Greenwich. And what is this line called? Prime meridian. Millions of visitors come here and touch the line from where the timekeeping starts. Second lesson. Third lesson, we got to anatomy. We are studying about the nose. It is divided by a vertical partition called the nasal septum. It's a vertical wall. It is made up of cartilage and bone. What is the cartilage called? The septal cartilage. Where is it located? In front and behind. In front and behind is the bone. Now the bone comprises of two parts, namely the perpendicular plate of ethmoid and vomer. Two parts, perpendicular plate of ethmoid and vomer. That is the bone behind. In front, what is the cartilage? Behind is the vomer. Above is the perpendicular plate of ethmoid, below is the vomer. The nasal cavities are lined by a thin membrane of tissue. What are we studying about? The nose. It is partitioned into two cavities by a partition called the nasal septum, comprising behind of a bony perpendicular plate of ethmoid. Below is the vomer, that is behind. In front is the septal cartilage. And that's about the nose. It's another book from botany I developed, but let us skip this. Same way you have to read every particular chapter. Now, once you have studied, you need a separate book of list of topics studied. What is the first subject that we studied? What is the second subject we studied? The second subject is about time zones. Third is about the nose. First is about greenhouse gases. So once you've made this list, you need to revise it either twice a month. 2 Sundays you keep for revision, or once a month. But the time between revisions should be equal. You can't revise one, then third week, then 1 month, and then again 2 weeks. No, it should be equal. First revision, if it is to a quarterly, once in 2 weeks, first revision, second revision after 2 weeks, third revision again after 2 weeks, fourth revision, and start from the very beginning. First about the greenhouse effect, second about time zones, third about right from the very beginning. If you feel you're thorough with it, leave it. Because revision means revision. And keep a revision time, preferably twice a month, and revise right from the very beginning. And you will find by the first revision, you're okay. Second revision, better. It is by the third revision, you have very clear, crystal clear, concrete memory. Certain things you have to by heart, definitions, or especially definitions you have to by heart, word to word. In between, what is the date, which year did Fleming describe it? 1878. What are the values? How many time zones are there? 24. Between one zone, what is the number of latitude? 15. You see why this time we are so thorough. And what does the greenhouse, if the values, if the greenhouse effect was not there, how much will the earth be cooler? By 33 degrees. So what about the curriculum? Why is it so called? It means a curricule like a chariot, which means you must run like a chariot with the, look at the horse's eyes. What is happening? The horse's eyes are covered so that the horse does not get distracted. In your studies, you cannot get distracted to anything. Your only focus studies because you're going to do exceedingly well. If the curriculum is of 1 year duration, by 10th month, you should aim to finish all your topics. Very easy, systematically if you do. Now itself, we have mastered 3 topics just in 20 minutes time, I suppose. So imagine if you're systematically studying just 1 hour a day. If you're doing that, you can have a nice, comfortable sleep, doesn't matter. And you have your book of list. And then every picture should have, look at time zones, look at the nose, have a book of diagrams. You can't imagine about a diagram and start in the exam hall. you must have a list of diagrams which you must frequently practice. So once you have data, look at what are the data about the greenhouse effect, about the time zones, about the nose, and you have various diagrams, and you have which year, 1878. If you have studied all that, you have got mastery of the subject. So easy it is. But unnecessarily, we do not have any idea and struggle so much. Systematically, 1 hour you read, whatever you read, even if it is a paragraph, make sure you absolutely mastered and write the mastered topic in the book of list. In the meanwhile, of course, make sure you look after your health, make sure you have good immunity. What is the backbone of immunity? We have a calm mind. Fresh lime contains vitamin C. Black raisins contain iron. I could also take vitamin C and iron tablets, or an apple that has a rich source of iron. Towards exam time, do not indulge in arguments and difference of opinion. Practice to hold the pen in such a manner that you get a good flexibility and a good handwriting. Make practice various types and then steady with one particular mode. Every day practice handwriting to make sure that you can have a good handwriting with the teacher can understand. Look at where your separate letters are faulty and practice only on that letter. Practice 5 minutes a day simply on handwriting. And towards the end, you will find that you can't write quickly. Therefore, every day practice speed writing. Practice writing an essay so that you can finish the essay in 45 minutes time. Difficult words have a separate book of spellings and practice these spellings every day. Make sure every single word is properly spelled. Just 1 day before the exam, read the entire thing cover to cover, end to end, and make sure you read with your eyes so that you are not slowed down by the movement of your lips. And 1 day before the exam, you have to prepare. Make sure you have a spare pen, hall ticket, sharpened pencil, rubber, scale, compass, watch, and everything is prepared. Hall ticket too. Make sure the previous day you get to know the exam hall. If the hall is shifted, you are arrived late by more than 30 minutes, you will not be allowed to enter the hall. Previous day itself, make sure you know the exam hall and arrive half an hour early. In the first minute, if it is a 3-hour paper, you need to allocate by 1.5 hours, 1 hour for 30 minutes. You should finish section A. First minute, allocate time. Now, a bit about the dynamics. Every answer should have a subheading. Make sure the question number is outside the margin. Inside the margin, only the subheading and the subsections A, B, C. And make sure each question is sequentially or answered. Some students write the first question, fifth, third question, 10th question. That irritates the examiner. And leave a sufficient space at the end of every question so that if something crops up, you can add it. Usually, if you don't intensely focus, sometimes something else might crop up in your brain and you can add that. So leave space after each answer. And it is diagrams which dictate your marks. Let every answer have 1 or 2 diagrams. The moment a well neat drawn diagram is there, full marks are generally given. And therefore, have a book of diagrams and practice a diagram until it is efficiently, you can draw it. Some basics about answer papers. Make sure every page has a margin. Make sure that the question number is very clearly and legibly written outside the margin. Make sure that there is a subheading and the subsections are written inside the margin. And after every answer, make sure that the next, otherwise we cannot make out when one answer ends and the other begins. So after every answer, there should be a complete line across the page. Very clearly the question number. If the question number is not there, you may have written extensively. I will mark it not attempted because the question number is not there. Sometimes I can't read what is written and therefore I'll only look at the subheading. That is absolutely important. Every answer must have a subheading very clearly written and underlined. Now, in sessional exam class test, you can write the name and your roll number, but in university exam, you are prohibited and do not write your name. If your name is written, you will instantly be disqualified and you will not be able to pass the exam. Do not write the name and number in your university exam. Once you've written everything in the last 5 minutes, what do you do? Check the spelling number, question number, make sure all the answers are properly, if you take an extra paper, it's properly tied and secured. Make sure the hall ticket number is entered into the place where you need to enter. Now, having done all that, I always focus a little bit about your own self. In any walk of life, make sure in every class or in every program, be punctual. If you give your word, honor it. Never ever talk badly about another person. Do not criticize or do not reply to third-party comments. About everything and anything or anybody, speak only good. And in your own self, look after yourself, be neat in yourself and be neat in your attire. And of course, many fights happen when you lend, so do not lend, do not borrow. And later on, when you do well in life, tons of money, 10% give it off to charity. What does charity mean? Give it off to your parents, to your neighbors, colleagues, friends, and your well-wishers. Many poor are poor because of choice. If they work hard, anybody can become rich. So give it to your own colleagues, your own friends, well-wishers, and charity begins at home. And make sure you give your fellow men the required appreciation. And always be lavish in your praise and hearty in your approbation. If you talk only positive and appreciate everything, everybody will want you as your friend. And of course, always refine yourself to make yourself world class. Have a smile, because a smile is the first and the best gift that you can give another human. Never ever though laugh at a person. You can laugh with a person, but never laugh at a person. Various adjectives I picked up: be caring, loving, sincere, and friendly. And a little bit about my own achievements, I suppose. My chapters on the International Medical Textbook read about 600 times by American doctors. And my plastic surgery chapter, the gold medals that I won and what I have done, a bit about something about various surgeries and cosmetic rhinoplasty, endoscopic sinus surgery, microlaryngal surgery, voice surgery. You must be the best in anything that you do, the very best in the world, and the world should come to you. And these are various cures I have developed. The world now comes. The only way to get a cure is in my center. So migraine, vertigo, voice, allergy, so many things. Now, let me make it very clear. You're born in this world naked and bare. Your journey through this world is trouble and care. You do not go from here to where nobody knows where. But if you do well here, you will do well there. I wish you all the very best. That's my email and my WhatsApp number. If you want to message me, I would appreciate if you message me on my WhatsApp and make a comment about this presentation. And later on, as your career unfolds, you can ask and clarify anything that you want. Primarily on my WhatsApp number, 924-330-1213. All the very best. Do well. In the comment section, put a comment so that I will have a feedback of this presentation. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mm.